Here's a story about a girl named Jessie. She grew up in a little town. She used to sit around and think about her wish that she'd be getting out and heading down to live within a city filled with bigger crowds, impatient for the day she could eventually bounce. Her best friend was Laura. They were inseparable. They met in school age 7 in assembly hall. They always said that they'd be BFFs forever. All our lives we gon' be by each other's sides. That's what friends are for. But unlike Jessie, Laura loved it in the place they lived. She liked the way she was acquainted with the neighbours, plus the lazy pace of things. She used to say, I'm gonna stay and raise my kids. To Jessie, that was craziness. Laura had a little sister, Kat, that idolised her, plus a boy she met at 15 years old. And 3 years later, he still gave her butterflies inside. His life was kind, her life's desire. And some say young love is a fickle thing, cause all these kids are quickly tempted with a Tinder link, and their attention dims in minutes once they stick it in. But they weren't listening, he gifted her a little ring. 18 years old, engaged to be his missus in that sleepy little town. She felt bliss within. Her parents loved him, said he was raised up proper. They had a wedding plan with Jessie as the maid of honour. Speaking of Jessie, her time had come at last. She left that sleepy town behind to study art under bright city lights, streets lined with clubs and bars. University life was just the start. She said, I'll stay here forever, I finally get to live the dream. Although she wasn't meeting Laura physically, they were still thick as thieves. They were talking literally every evening. After Laura finished work, she'd click her screen straight to FaceTime, discussing wedding plans and honeymoons. Then Jessie told her all about her lectures and the clubs she knew, with grubby rooms and pumping tunes. She said, my birthday's coming soon. Before you jump the broom, come and visit me, I'd love you to. So Laura booked a train ticket to where Jessie lived. To tell the truth, she was ready for a weekend of excessive drink. Trying to plan a wedding gets real stressful. If you're just a kid, she'd feel the benefit of a rest from it. She kissed her family goodbye and walked to the station and hopped on the train, and then called her fiancé to say to him she already missed him, but she'd see him in a couple days. He said, I love you babe, have fun, okay? The train arrived at her station. She saw Jessie there smiling and waving. They cried and embraced, and then they headed back to Jessie's flat. While they were getting ready, Jessie said it's best we chat. She said, my friends and I are gonna pop some pills tonight. We do it nearly every time we're clubbing. It's the sickest hype. I wondered what you'd think. I don't want you on a different vibe, so if you'd like to try it, I can ring a guy. Laura thought for a minute. She didn't want to come across boring and rigid. Plus Jessie said she'd done it all before and it's wicked. That was Laura convinced. She said it's cool, you can ring him. But every time Jessie tried to bell the guy, his phone was off. Said he's the only hope you've got of getting high. Revolving clock, her friends are texting like, get inside, it's live. I know you're not still trying for gear, just buy it here, there's blokes that shot. She said we'll be there in 5. They've been drinking since 6, down in litres of wine. And Laura was normally sheepish and shy, but tequila and lime made her eager to vibe with all of Jessie's new friends. So when she was inside, she went to speak to a guy who had 3 she could buy. She popped one, took a peek at the time. An hour later, still waiting to be feeling the high, she repeated it like, I thought I'd feel ecstasy in my mind, but all I'm seeming to find is my teeth will just grind and sweat bead. She had a seizure while tweaking and writhing on the floor. That's when Laura proceeded to die. Jessie dropped out, moved home and stayed there for life. All her dreams of leaving, raving in bright lights, erased overnight. The way Laura died stayed on her mind, replay and rewind. She would wake in the night wailing and try to escape from the sight she'd just seen in her dream. That glaze of her eyes, all vacant and white, her arms flailed as she writhed. Laura's mum never forgave her. She claimed that she tried, but she didn't. And something that she never did admit aloud is hidden down inside. She liked Jessie, feeling guilt for how it happened, cause Kat has got to live without a sister now. First Christmas with her missing was a mission just to think about. Her wedding ring was buried with her in the ground. Her boyfriend never was religious, still he whispers to her spirit when the chips are down. Those pills were found to be counterfeit, but how could she have known she shouldn't put them in her mouth? This story could have been true, it could have been you or a loved one. Put it through Google and see families pulled from the roots. But despite all of this bull, you refuse to look at the clues. The war on drugs is a war on us. Furious troops are killed daily cause generals refuse to loosen the rules. It's an assault on our civilized kind nation. Decriminalization's the way every side's facing. Why would the science saying tobacco's more harmful than ecstasy? Is Parliament deaf to these sagas of death, it seems? Mothers and fathers that beg to ease change and get shunned aside. I wonder why can't the elected see? Taking a gamble that may cost votes or stagnating with the status quo. We need to change our whole attitude to illegal drugs. If they were legal, punters could see the ingredients stuffed in the beans we munch. I've been in pubs in Dam where you can buy weed with lunch, and the stats all show that it's been a plus for the economy, and obviously it's clean as skunk. If we sold ecstasy in clubs and treated buzzing people justly like cuddly and peaceful drugs, then we could lead in this field. A free democracy offers people lots of freedom, such as ability to judge what we want in our own body. They're slowly banning sugar, that's a whole different moan. Sorry, go lobby for change, never mute your thoughts, cause truth is Laura, could be your future daughter. What becomes of a punchline if no one clocks it? Does it float on the breeze with a dream deferred to the fall of the trees that weren't seen or heard in a lonely forest? Only soundless using soulless logic.